welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where today I am going to have a go at a Big Mac, which unfortunately just means Adem Jaziri's puzzle of the same name. I'm sure that's not unfortunate. I'm sure it's far better for me to improve my mental health by having a go at a very difficult and very interesting Sudoku puzzle rather than gorging myself on fast food, which will no doubt happen later instead. Right, but I'm looking forward to this puzzle because Adam has written to us. Adam is absolutely brilliant Sudoku constructor, one of the very best in the whole world, and says that he's tried to do something different this time, which is interesting. I don't quite know what that means, but he says it worked out well, so that may turn out to be not well for the solver, but we shall see. It's an intriguing idea, and I'll go through the rules in a moment. You can read the rules and try the puzzle if you want, but they're interesting. I'll say that. Now, don't forget the Planet Suite in our Patreon. That is available until the 20th of the month. Well, it's available long beyond that, but you can enter the competition to discover Jupiter's red spot, tell us a planetary fact, and get into a roll of honour if you want. And it's a bit easier than the previous month, so give it a try. It's proving very popular, and that's on Patreon, along with all sorts of other content from previous months and years indeed. Patreon's been going for a long time, and we are very grateful to anybody who supports us in that way. We're also, of course, very grateful to you for watching at all, and to all the constructors who send us so many puzzles. Literally only one in about every 8 or 10 puzzles that we get sent can ever appear on the channel, so those are the odds. Now, we've also got our apps, which feature puzzles from many of the best constructors in the world, and they are available on the links under the video. Just go to the apps link and click on them there. There's a gas, there's classic, there's sandwich and arrow and thermo Sudoku and chess and domino Sudoku. It's all great stuff. We highly recommend them all. And of course, there's routes to the Discord server and the catalogue of our puzzles and our merchandise and Sven's Sudoku pad, all the links under the video. The first one of which is to this puzzle, Big Mac by Adam. And I'm going to go through the rules now. Normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 in every row, column and box. Nothing different yet. Digits in a cage cannot repeat and must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. So that's normal killer rule. Now, here we go. A clue outside the grid indicates the sum of the digits between X and Y, and also the sum of the digits between Y and Z in the corresponding row or column. X, Y, and Z are the same for all the clues and must be determined by the solver. For example, if X equals 1, Y equals 6, and Z equals 9, the 7 clue indicates that the sum of the digits between the 1 and the 6 in this row is equal to 7, and the sum of the digits between 6 and 9 is also equal to 7. A question mark could represent any digit from 0 to 9. Okay, that's an interesting limit. These question marks can't be 18s or any other double-digit number. Different question marks may represent different digits. No surprise there. So that's the rule set. Very unusual. It's kind of like a double sandwich, which is obviously where the name Big Mac comes from. Give it a try if you fancy it on the link under the video. I don't know what to make of it. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. And yeah, all the things... I looked around at the start of the video, thought I don't have a drink handy, but my throat feels fine. Now, as soon as I've hit the clock, I've got a cough. That's classic. I shall hope it goes away. All of the things I thought I knew about sandwich Sudoku are useless. I would normally start colouring, if I could, cells in rows and columns, with red for sandwich crusts and green for non-crusts. But here, well, I don't know what X, Y, and Z are. Okay, this 18 row, this is where we start. None of these cages are complete giveaways. So the 18 row is where we start because We have to have 2 sandwiches of 18 within that. Right. Yeah, okay. I think they have to be here and here. Okay, 18 is a very useful sum in some ways because... Yeah, sorry, just thinking it through. It is, because you can't do it in 2 cells. 2 cells must add up to 9 and 8 at the maximum, and that's only 17. So 18 requires at least 3 cells. Now, I believe that this row must therefore be crust, sandwich, crust, sandwich, crust. And I will just explore for a moment, was there any possibility about that being one end? Well, in fact, let's not put it there. That being one end of a sandwich, that being another end, and that being another end, and then we have to add those for one sandwich and those for another. And the answer is no, because obviously the sum of that cannot be the same as the sum of that, because it's those digits plus more. So I think all of these clues must be crust, sandwich, crust, sandwich, crust for that reason. I think that has to be right. Now, if there is a secret that I'm willing to share with you about every Sudoku puzzle, I was going to say in the world, but as long as it has 3 by 3 boxes, it's true, and as long as it's using 1 to 9. So actually those are some slightly bounding circumstances, but all the rows, columns and boxes add up to the same number, and we already know what that number is. It's 45. And the reason we know that is because 1 to 9 have to appear in every row, column, box. They always add up to 45. So this row adds up to 45. The green cells there add up to 18. Those green cells add up to 18. The remaining red cells add up to 9. And now we know the total of x, y, and z. It is 9. It doesn't really give me a chance to pencil mark everything. I mean, I could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into those cells, but I'm not sure how helpful that is. There are 3 combinations of digits in the same row that can add up to 9. One is 1, 2, 6, one is 1, 3, 5, and one is 2, 3, 4. I don't think any of those impinge on the freedom of things adding up to 18. In fact, yeah, I was going to say maybe 9 and 8 have to be in separate segments, but they don't. It could be 9, 8, 1 there, and 2, 3, 4 in red, and 5, 6, 7 there. So limited progress maybe from that 18 clue. And the terrifying thing about this puzzle is there is only the 7 clue that has a number. Other than that, we've just got these cages, and I don't have any idea how we use them. And I mean, in these columns, we've got a red cell, and we've got the question mark that indicates a digit between 0 and 9. But I mean, those 3 could be X, Y, and Z. Those 3. I mean, if it's 0, it could be any group of 3 consecutive cells in that area. If it's not 0, if it can't be 1, well, I mean, it could be, oh, okay, it can't be the same digit on both sides. Say this is in the middle. It couldn't be the same digit in both sides. So it couldn't be a single digit both sides, but this could be an 8 sum with one sum of 8 there, and either a single 8 or a sum of 8 there. A 9 sum would allow a 3-digit sum. I don't know, this is... I just don't have a clue here. Let's look at this row. Okay, there's something interesting. Or is there? 3 reds adding up to 9, they could be here. and would be a 0, and that clue would be fulfilled. I mean, I can see you couldn't have 2 reds there, because these... Yeah, because if the reds are adding up, I don't know if that's true. No, you couldn't. Well, you couldn't have 3 reds there, because if they add up to 9, no, that's not true. You could. You could have a 1 here, 2 and 6 there, and a 3, 5 pair here. 8 would be the sum of the row, and that would go there. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Oh. Oh, my goodness. I dare say I was not meant to be confused by this, but I've just realised that the rules are a little bit more specific than I'd understood. Yes, they are so specific that this, let me go to, oh, not that, not that. Let me put in the letter tool. This is Y, isn't it? I've only just realised this. This digit is Y, specifically Y, because the rules say that a clue outside the grid indicates the sum of the digits between X and Y, and also the sum of the digits between Y and Z. It doesn't say any 2 of X, Y, and Z, which is exactly how I'd interpreted it for this row. And that gets interesting, because now this can't be 3 reds in a row sitting in the box, because that is not allowed to be Y by Sudoku anymore. Yes, and I mean, I'm just going to show you what I'm thinking about. If you made it, I mean, this doesn't work, and that's why I am displaying it. If you made it YZX, then this question mark would represent the difference between Y, the sandwiched cells between Y and Z, which would be 0, but it's also meant to represent the difference between Y and X, which would actually be Z, which is not 0. So that conformation is impossible. And I think, therefore, at least we know that in this row, this cage doesn't contain all the reds. Now, it doesn't contain 2 of the reds, because they would need the 3rd red to make the cage add up to 9. And then it would contain 3 of the reds, and we've just proved that's impossible. So I want to say this cage contains 1 of the reds exactly. But now I'm not sure about that at all, because maybe it contains none of them. Oh, and yeah, if you put X, Y, Z there, that would get you a 0 for the question mark. Ah, no, that won't work, because then you'd have a total of 9 in those cells and a total of 9 in those. That's 18 for 6 cells, and that's far too few. 6 cells have to add up to at least 21. Ah, okay, this is why the 9 cage has to contain 1 red cell. Because if it didn't have any, you'd have 6 cells in the row that add up to 18. That's not going to happen. So, does it have to contain Y? That's my next question. I don't think it does. You could put X here and Y here and Z here. Oh, maybe I need to think about these end columns in light of my new discovery that these cells are not Y. Yes, these get interesting now. Ah, bingo. I believe that both of these columns, the question mark clue represents 0. Now, this is, let's call this one, I don't know, let's call it X and call this one Z. Now, I don't think I'm going to get a chance to place any more X's and Z's for a long time, but never mind. This is X. That has to be at one end in this column of the sequence of X, Y, Z. Wherever y is, z has to be further away because of the kind of, you can't have the overlap thing going on. And I think, therefore, you can't have y here, for instance, because that would be the sandwich sum, a non-zero sandwich sum. And if to put z on the other end of y, you'd only have one cell, and those two would have to be the same sandwiches, and that can't happen. So you can't put y that far away. You can't put it this far away, or y to z would be a 0. And therefore, y is in one of these two cells. And this shows that my pencil marking has been a bit inadequate for this. Y is in one of those cells. Z, now the difference is 0, and Z has to immediately follow Y in one of those two cells. What I mean about my pencil marks being inadequate is I might as well give it a full X, Y, and Z, so that now when I put corner marks in, we are looking at possible locations within the column. Now it's the same here. Z has to be the same distance from Y as X is from Y. So Z is there, Y is there, X is in one of these. Now, can this, which hits a 14 cage, be X? I think it could if it was 5 or 6. And that's a pity. But X, Y, and Z have been so confined in these end columns that I can colour these cells green. Now that doesn't necessarily represent sandwich, it represents definitely not crust. Now we can come back to this row. We know that we now know that Y is specifically in this cage. One of these is Y. How do I know that? Because you can't line up the 3 with 1 in the cage, even if that was X. You can't put Y and Z both of this side, or their difference is 0. Oh, hang on. I haven't thought about this 0 possibility. Oh, bother. Yeah, these 3 could be red, couldn't they? Could they? If with a 0 clue in this row as well. Ah, rats. Now I've got to come up with a reason why either that does work and is true, or it doesn't work. These two could be the, if those added up to 9, X, Y, Z, these would be the other two that make up the total of 9 from that. So if that was 1 and this was 3, 5, that could be 2, 6. Okay, are there any similarities between the row shapes? If we had a Y in one of these cells, how would we make the rest of the row? Okay, that's interesting. Imagine, I'm just imagining that we had a Y in this cell. Right, if this clue is 0, it's X, Y, Z there or X, Y, Z there. We know that. If this is Y, and the same would be true over here where that could be Y, there's a symmetry that prevails. Then this is going to be X or Z, and there's a sandwich clue of 1 cell. Now, where is X or Z on the other side? Does it have to be here? I'm quite interested in that now. Could this, it can't be a 1 cell sandwich because it would be the same digit as that on the other side. It can clearly be a 2 cell sandwich. If it was, say, 8, that could be a single 8. Can it be a 3 cell sandwich? Oh no, it can't, because again you'd have 6 cells adding up to 18. The 3 cell sandwich and X, Y, and Z would all be in the row. So, or 18 at, oh no, hang on. No, well, oh, it's close. Doesn't have to add up to 18 because I was thinking of the 9 sandwich clue. Could be a 6 sandwich clue, in which case those would add up to 6. The 3 reds would add up to 9. Oh no, that's far too little. No, it's fine, it's fine. 21 is the minimum, and the maximum that this could add up to if there was a 3-cell sandwich in it is 18. For 6 cells, that's no good. Right. Okay, what I have now established is that therefore this cell here would be the other X or Z. Now, and that applies this other side. If Y was there instead, this cell would be X or Z. And now, one of these is going to be a red cell if we have a 0 clue, because it's either going to run there or there. So, all I've learnt from that, and I hope it helps, is that one of these two is red. And the reason I think it might help is because these are in columns with question marks. And if this doesn't help, this has been a long diversion for nothing. But one of these is a red cell. And in its column, in this column you could not have a 0 clue. Well, you couldn't have a 0 clue with 3 reds there because the 3 reds add up to 9, so the cage would break. Could you have a 0 clue with the 3 reds there? I think you could. No, you couldn't if Z was here. Oh, now I'm getting heavily confused. How on earth are you meant to make progress in this? I might be entirely up the wrong tree here. I'm still a little bit fixated by the fact that one of these two has to be red. What about this one? 0, 0, 0. It passes through a 9. X, Y, Z here. Oh, remember, Y has to be in the middle. Oh, Y is always in the middle. Why can't I get my head around this? Right, 0, 0 here would require that to be a Y. That would therefore have to be, yes, that would have to be the middle of an XYZ string in this row, which would therefore include a number, an X, Y or Z here and 1 here, and now you've got too many red cells in box 7. So that can't be that can't be XYZ with 0 sandwiched items. Right, now it's getting difficult for this to be red. I'm just going to postulate this as a red cell. Because if I can rule that out, I've got progress. I've got real progress. Well, possibly. Now, this is not Y, because that is not a possible string. So it is X or Z. Oh. Has that ruled out X, Y, Z entirely in those 3 cells? Yes, it has, because that would put Y here. That would have to be X or Z, and there'd be too many. And I think that's true here as well. If this was X, Y, Z with Y in the middle, this would have to be X or Z below it in the column, and that would be another one, and you'd have 4. Right, those 3 combos of X, Y, Z are impossible. So in this row, we are going to have Y in one of those 2 cells. Wow, this is insane, Adam. Y in one of those 2 cells. Now, why did I think one of these had to be red? Because it's going to be 2 away from this Y. So if that's Y, that's red. If that's Y, that's red. Although in fact, they could both be red. In fact, I think they will both be red. Hang on. Are they both going to be red? No, they're not. No, we've either got a sandwich, a 2-cell sandwich there and a 1 there, or a 2-cell sandwich there and a 1 there. Okay, there's only one circumstance, so this red is still hypothetical. Although I think it's hard now. That can't be 0, 0, 0. That can't be XYZ because you'd have Y in the middle. That can't be XYZ because 2 of the numbers would add up to 9, and they don't. We know that all 3 do. So this, if that's red, this total is not 0. Now it gets interesting. Can that be Y? And the answer is no. Because Y is in one of those cells in this box. This is an impossible location for a red cell. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. It's an impossible location for a red cell because in this row it wouldn't be Y, it would be X or Z. Because we've proved that otherwise you get four reds there. If it was X or Z, Y has to be somewhere above it. It's not a 0 sandwich sum, so Y would have to be after a sandwich of 1, 2, or even 3 cells. I think we've proved 3 is impossible, but all of those would put Y in this box, and we know that Y is in one of those cells. That is not red. Bingo. That is green, and now we know that this is not red. It's not Y. This is red, and it is Y. It is Y. I don't know why I'm stuttering. That's Y. This is X or Z. There we go. That is red. There's 2 greens here. We can't have 3 greens because that's too many cells adding up to 9. And here we go. We've got the shape of reds in row 8. I mean, that is so fruitin' complicated. Now, one of these 2 must be Y, surely. Y has to be in the middle of a 7 sum. This was an easier row to work on. Why have I done so much work on this row? Because numpty. This must be Y, surely. You can't put Y here or here by Sudoku. It has to be the middle of the 3 reds in this row. So it can't be there or there. So you're only left with these 3 places. And if you were to put it here, X or Z would have to be on its left side. You wouldn't get a sum of 7. So that is Y. And this is X or Z. We're going to get an actual number in the grid. Hurrah! Which is a 7 there. That is the difference. This is red. These 2 add up to 7. It can't be 3 that add up to 7 because you'd have too many cells adding up to too few numbers. This, therefore, is red. I don't know whether it's X or Z. Oh, I managed to lose the redness. How have I done that? There we go. I don't know whether it's X or Z, but it's one of them. These 2 add up to 7. Now, in this column, you could have a 0 sum. Y has got to be below that. Oh, it can't be in this cage. It can't be in this cage. It's got to be there. It's got to be. Right. I'm getting this. I'm gradually getting how this puzzle works. That is now X or Z, but we know what it is because we've placed X. So that's Z. That's X. That's Z. In this column, Y, this is X or Z. Y has to be above it because you can't make X, Y, Z go down. Y must be here. These are both red. That's Y. This is now X because it can't be Z in that box. Z there, X there. And we are actually disambiguating our letters. Oh, well that hasn't... I thought these would be done, but they're absolutely not done unless I'm missing something. Okay, but we've got a lot of green cells now, a lot of green real estate. let's put all that in. I might have missed some as well. Oh look, this has got to be a Y. We need one in this box, in this column. That's in this row, I mean. That's weird. I can place a Y up here as well. There we go. And it's red. Now oh, that means all 4 columns have a 0 clue. All 4 clued columns have a 0 clue. And all 3 across rows that have a clue have a actual number as the clue. 7, 18, and whatever that number is. Wow. I mean, this is crazy, but we are getting there. I've kind of used the clues now, though. I mean, obviously, I still have to make these sandwich bits add up to the right number. But I've used all the clues outside the grid, so it's just going to be down to the cages. Oh, this is mad. I don't have any... Oh, I've got a 7. I haven't got... That doesn't even break up the 14 cage possibilities. I haven't got any numbers. How are we going to do this puzzle? Right. Is this X impossible? I don't know. Well, okay, hang on. Okay, I'm just going to remember those conformations in the outside columns, that they're going to have to be 3 strung together north or south of the central row. Because I want to note that Z is in one of those 2 cells in this box. Therefore, it's in one of these 3. X if X is... I don't know what to think about this. I was thinking if this is ZYX as a sequence here, then that's X. And then X has to be in this group of cells. And Z and X obviously aren't going to be in the 13 cage together. Whichever one goes in the 13 cage is the highest of X, Y, and Z, but I don't know. Maybe I should be looking at this column, which has a total of 9 there, because we know X, Y, and Z add up to 9 from row 5. Plus 9 there is 18. Or this column, 7 there, 9 there, that's 16. 14 here, that's 30. The other 3 cells add up to 15. I don't know, that doesn't seem very helpful. This is quite irritating. I thought actually I'm going to put in the Y's again, because they were pencil marked within the same box, and that might trigger something. One of these is an X. I mean, this is just symmetrical to the Z thing. One of these is an X. Is there a way to know that that's Z? I doubt it. Maybe I need to look at the 9 cages. This 9 cage has a Y in it. But those could be X and Z. That could be one way this adds up to 9. Maybe I need to think about this one more. Those add up to 9. If they're 1, 2, 6... that is a 4-5 pair. If they're 1, 3, 5, that's a 2, 7 pair. And if they're 2, 3, 4, that's a 1, 8 pair. That doesn't feel helpful in the slightest degree. Okay, what about this 9? Does it have to have... Right, they can't both be red, because then that would need to be the 3rd red to make the sum of 9. Yeah, let's do this again. Can neither of them be red, which would put X there and Z there? No, interestingly not. Because then none of these cells would be red, and they'd add up to 9. And X, Y, Z would be would add up to 9. And even though they're not in the same row, box or column, you can't have 6 different digits in a Sudoku that add up to 18. So it can't be true that none of these are red. One of them at least is, and it can't be 2 of them. So one of these is red. Now, does it have to be X? Oh, maybe that... No, it doesn't apply here, because this could be 2 reds or 2 greens, as long as these are the same colour. Man, it just shows I really don't know how to think about this. Oh, I've just noticed these can't be red because they see a Y in one of those 2 cells and X and Z. Same here. So much symmetry. It's being quite cruel. So one of these 2 is red. That was where I got to. But it could be Z with an X there. I haven't managed to use this 7 digit at all, have I? I suppose this pair... Oh, this group of cells. We know the total. 9 in red, 7 and 7 in green, 23 in total. These others add up to 22 and they don't include a 7. They're 985. Oh, that's weird. So this pair doesn't have a 5 in it. It's either 1, 6 or 3, 4. What good does that do, pray tell? Wow, half an hour in, I'm really... Well, I've made some progress, I suppose. Let's not decry what's been achieved. Right, let's think about this cage in the context of adding up to 9. X, Y, and Z could still... X, Y, and Z now cannot be 1, 3, 5, because then you couldn't make this up. Oh, because 5 has been used there. So X, Y, Z are either 1, 2, 6 or 2, 3, 4. And they definitely include a 2. So if they're 1, 2, 6, this was 4, 5, this 9 cage. If they're 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 8. If they're 1, 2, 6, I know that's 5, 9, but if they're 2, 3, 4, it doesn't really tell me anything about this one, does it? Don't think it does. Now, this can't be a 6. Oh, that's interesting. Y can't be a 6 because that would have to be a 2, 1 to make the cage work, but Z and X would also have to be 2 and 1. So I don't think Y can be a 4 either, because that would have to be a 2, 3, but XZ would also have to be 2, 3. So Y is a low digit. It's either, well, it could be 2. It's 1, 2, or 3. Could it be 1 or 3? If it was 3, that would have to be a 1, 5 pair. If it was 1, that would have to be a 3, 5 pair, because XZ would be 2 and 6. If that was 2, though, then there's definitely not a 5 here. Bother. That was really leading to something, I thought, for a second there. And then it just backed away from it and gave up. Don't think these 18 clues, these sandwiches, are any use yet. Oh, what's this number? Do I have any clue about that? Yes, now I know this is 1, 2, or 3. No, it's 1 or oh yeah, 1, 2 or 3. That's true. These, the question mark in this row is 6, 7 or 8. So that is 6, 7 or 8. Oh, and the total for this segment, right, let's say it was 6, 12, and those adding up to 9 is 21. This would be 9, 8, 7. But if the total was 7, 14, 23, these would add up to 22. Again, 9, 8, 5 like at the top. And if this was 8, 16, plus those is 25. These would add up to 20 without an 8. That would make them 9, 7, 4, or 9, 6, 5. Oh. Oh. How am I meant to narrow it down? Let's look at this X again. Right, let's imagine that's 1, 6. That couldn't be the 6. Oh, that's interesting. These make up 7. Yes. If that was 6 or 4, the counterpart in making up 7 would both have to appear there and in this cage. Is that right? Or can the cage be a 1, 3, 5 cage? Oh, that doesn't matter. Yes, if it's 6 or 4, it doesn't work. So that is not 6 or 4. And that is, therefore, the 6 or 4. Now, this is 1 or 3 now. And I think there has to be a 5 in this cage and a 2. No, not and a 2. No, it has to be 1, 3, 5, if that's right. Now, do I really think that, or am I making it up? Why do I think that? Because if this is a 1, there's a 6 here, and this has to be 3, 5. If that's a 3, there's a 4 here, and this has to be 1, 5. So this is now a 1, 3, 5 cage. How bizarre. Now, one of the digits is red. We've worked out that one of the digits in the cage is red. And that's not the 5. X is not the 5. So this is a pair of 5 and X. And X is either 1 or 3 now. And this isn't X. Now, am I right? Why am I saying that's not X? Oh, yes, we worked out we can't have 3 greens here. Oh, but I don't... Ah, hang on. X could be there, and this could be 5 and Z. Oh, do need to be careful. So all I know is that this is a 1, 3, 5 cage. I also worked out earlier that Y can't be high. It can't be 4, 5 or 6. Because, why was that? Because here it appears with that pair and with X and Z in different 9 sums, and 4 and 6 don't have different 9 sums. So now that that's a 1, 3, 5 cage, Y is 2, and I get a whole bunch more stuff in the grid. And I'm quite pleased with that, because it means I've done something. Now this is either a 3, 4 or a 1, 6 pair adding up to 7, just like that one. And this is the non-X. Yes, X and Z are also a pair adding up to 7. But they could be here. It's either 1, 6 or 4, 3. Oh, hang on. Now, this pair adds up to 9 without X or Z. And X, Z are either a 3, 4 pair or a 1, 6 pair. Okay, yeah, that's all right. I still haven't satisfied myself that X is one of these two. Although I think it may be. It may be. But I've got some 2s in the grid. That's so strange. Let's put 2. equals y. I'll get rid of the y now, I suppose, because I've taken y out of the rest of the puzzle. Okay. Something must be meant to be obvious at this point, and I'm just not seeing it. If Z is in this cage, it's big, isn't it? It's 6 or 4. I mean, big in the context of the numbers that can make up 9. Very tempted to think 5's in this cage because it can never be a red digit now. But that's not logic, it's just supposition. This is a pair that adds to 7, and that's a pair that adds to 7, and it's a different colour. In that, if I was to assume 1, 6 was one colour, then 3, 4 is the other colour. But I don't know which is which. Oh, sorry, that's very poor colour choices. Let's do it the other way round. This is the pair that is not X and Z, but this pair also adds up to 7 and is the pair that is not X and Z. So that's purple too. And this can't be purple because that shares a box with the 2 purple cells. So this is the pair that is X and Z. These are X and Z. There we go. So there's a red pair that adds to 7, they are X and Z. And there's a purple pair that adds to 7 that are not X and Z. So these are green because they see X, Y, or X2 and Z, as we now know it to be now that Y's identity has been unmasked. That sees X, Y, and Z. So does this. Ah! And now Z's gone in the cage. Z's in this cage. It's either a 4, 9 or a 6, 7 cage. And Z is either 4 or 6. Z is the bigger number. Oh, this is mental, this puzzle. So that one is 4 or 6. And X is the smaller number, is 1 or 3. All because of that cage at the bottom. Right. So X is in this cage because it's 1 or 3. It's not there, unsurprisingly. X is also, that's X, isn't it? So one of these is red Z. That's become X. That's 1 or 3, red. These must be green, unsurprising since they add up to 14. These are green because one of those is red. One of these is a 4 or a 6. Am I eventually going to be allowed to know which is which? We shall find out. Now that's red 4 or 6, but that's purple 4 or 6. So red 4 or 6 is in one of these cells. These are both green. Just notice that. That's green because we've got 3 reds in this column. So it's not X. So this is red 1 or 3. X to its friends. And that determines the final columns. Wow, that has taken an age. This is red 2, otherwise known as Y. Wasn't there an XYZ affair in the history of the French or the American spying? That seems to be what we're involved in here. Let's get rid of the Z there. Those are green. Now, unbelievably, we're still not finished for colouring, but I can put a 2 in there. That's not a 2. That's not a 2. This is the Z. That is 4 or 6. So I've got all my reds coloured, or numbered rather, with 4 6s or 1 3s. Where are they going to get resolved? In one of these 14s or in this? Not in that. There is a red 4 or 6 in here by Sudoku in this box. So that's not red. And that is. One of these is red 1 or 3. Come on. I think we're very, very weirdly close to a finish actually now. I don't know why. Oh. Well, this is a... Oh no, this is just the purple 1, 3, 4, 6 pair. Ah, but purple's looking at purple there, so that can't be 1 or 3. Don't know if that's going to do anything. Doesn't look like it does. No, I'm still floundering around. Oh, these add up to 7. Oh, hang on. Was that the whole thing? Is that definitely a 7? Ooh, I don't know. I'm just going to rewind to the bit where I posited that they added up to 7. Why was I so certain about that back when I first coloured them purple? Because if that was bogus, then everything I've done since is potentially... Oh, it's in a cage that adds up to 9. It wasn't bogus, it was fine. Oh, good grief. So it was obvious from the moment that I got that Y was 2, that row 8, column 3 was a 7. Sorry, because of the sandwich sum in row 8. That's what I've been missing all this time. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's going to tidy up everything at all, but it's definitely true. So these others are 5, 8, and 9 in this row. Look, yes, this can't be a 5, 9 cage or it would break those two cells. They'd both have to be 8. So that's a 6, 8 cage. This feels like it's doing it. 8 comes out of there and goes in here. It comes out of here. It comes out of here, so that's not an 8, 1 cage. 6, 8 are looking at Z. Z has become 4. Not that we know it as Z anymore. Now we know it as 4. It's unmasked. X has to be 3 because the reds add up to 9. Oh, lovely. Purple 1 or 3 is a 1. Purple 1 or purple 4 or 6 is a 6. This is a 4, 9 cage now with Z in it. That's a 3, 5 pair. I think the rest is going to be Sudoku. 8 goes there. That's a 5, 7 pair. Look, this has become a definite 1, which goes with an 8 in the box. That's a 5, 6 pair. This is 1 and 7. I don't know. I suspect I've made a holy pig's ear of this puzzle. I don't think I really did ever get to grips with it properly. If you've just seen this, worked out how it all works and cruised through it, my hat is off, but I don't know how you did that. Did you not have to make these deductions that I've had to make, I wonder? It's intriguing. It's a really intriguing one. Now, this still... Well, I don't know. That's annoying. This could still be 5, 9 or 6, 8. But then that pair will add up to 14 as well, because they're the others from 5, 9 and 6, 8. Okay, let's not worry about that. Let's do other things somewhere. There must be other things I can do. So much Sudoku has been revealed. Oh, just do something, Mark. There's a 6 in one of those cells. Right, and a 5. 6 and 5 have to be here. There's a 5 X-wing. It's actually marked with an X for once between those two. That's a 7, 9 pair. This is a 4, 8 pair. Now, 8 has to be there by Sudoku. Now I've got a 5, 9 pair in the final column. So I'm looking to place 1, 6 and 8 in it. I don't mean isn't it, I mean in that column. Now this pair adds up to 14, and now they can't be 5, 9 because of that cell. That's lovely. That's a 6, 8 pair. I bet there are other ways of getting to that point. That's an X-wing on 5s, not marked with an X this time, but it gives us a 5 there. That has to be 5 in column 3. This 6-8 pair gives us 1 in the corner. All hopes of getting a 3 in the corner are gone. That fixes 6 and 8 in the final row though. This is a 1, 7, 8 triple. That is 5 or 9. Now, all the clues have been done. Let's get rid of the purple. That's done its business a long time ago. 4, 5, 6, 2. That is 7 or 9. 4, 5, 6, 2. That's 1 or 7. And this is 1, 7 or 9. How can there be any puzzling left to do in this? They're all from 1, 6, 7. I'm just missing something huge here. This central box looks very suspicious. 4, 5, 6, 2. What's going on? I don't know. Right, just go back to first principles. Take it slowly. There's a 1 in one of those cells. This must be so obvious to you. That is 1, 7 or 9. These include a 5, the top row, 3, 5, 2, 1, 4. This is 7 or 9. So this is the only place for 8 in the top row. Why have I not been able to see that? No idea, but it is. There we go. 8. There's a 7, 9 pair. This is now the only place for 6 in the top row. That's true as well. So that's not a 6. This is a 9. That's not. That 9 sorts out 5, 9 and 5, 6. Now I need a 6 here. I'm looking across this middle row and getting no change out of it. It can't still hold out now. It's just me having lost my marbles at this point. This is, I don't know, something from 1, 5, 7 and 9. It's odd. 1, 1. One of these is a 1. There's a lot of them that can be 1. Oh dear. One of those is a 9, definitely. 6, 4, 5, 9, 2. I mean, this is just weird. How is this not fully unwound now? I keep finding more things. 4, 8 pair, looking at that cell. So that's easy. In fact, that was an I-wing coming down there. Does nothing else, does it? Classic. It's just bad scanning now. Stormtroopers are letting all the rebels escape, as usual. If I've forgotten a clue, yes, I've forgotten this row has to add up to 18. There we go. That's 18 there. This is now 18 on this side. The original sandwich that got me started tripped me up at the very end. Mean old sandwich. I will definitely be putting it in the thumbnail to spite it. That's a 7, 9 pair. So this is now a 3, 1 pair that are resolved. That's a 3, 5 pair. That's 5, 7, 9, 7, 9, 4 down here, and 8. And just before I do this last 4, let's mark up all the 2, 3, 4 reds and all the non-2, 3, 4 greens. That's not the last 4 in the puzzle. I've just noticed all of columns 8 and 9 need to be completed, and 6 indeed. Dear me, brain fried, but I'm going to limp over the line with an 8 there. There we go, the solution is correct. 55 minutes, what a brilliant puzzle. And what a poor solve of it, I suspect. I would be very reassured if you were able to post that my solve was not absolutely dreadful, but I'm not expecting you to be able to do that. I'd rather you were truthful. Thank you for watching, as always, on the channel. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.